Hey you guys, so today I'm going to be talking to you some more about adding and subtracting matrices. Last week we went over how to do this by hand. This week I'm going to show you how to do it using a calculator. Now, since you're at home during all of this, you're not going to have access to our normal class set of calculators, so instead I'm going to show you an online resource you can use. So here I am at symbolab.com. And Symbolab is an online calculator you can use, and it's got some more advanced capabilities that you wouldn't find with just like the calculator that you have on your phone. So I'm going to be using this to show you how to add and subtract matrices. Anything we do in this class, if you need a calculator, you can use Symbolab to help you out. So I'm going to be trying to add these two matrices to start off with, and then I've got two other problems to get to in just a second. But to start off with, I've got these two matrices that I want to add. So I'm going to try and use my calculator. So to use my calculator, over here, I've got this tab that I can click on for matrices. It's got these boxes in parentheses. And coming down here, I don't actually see anything that looks like a matrix. What I do see are lots of numbers that look like the sizes of matrices. So I can either choose to click on one of these sizes and it would give me a matrix, or I can click this button over here where it has what looks like a matrix with some dots in between, and that actually, if I click on it, will let me select a matrix size. So I go through and I highlight the number of boxes I need, so the number of rows I would need and the number of columns I would need. So if I'm going to be doing that, to start off with, either way, I need to know what size my matrices are. The same way I need to know what size they are to add them by hand. So coming over here, I need to count the number of rows and the number of columns in each of these matrices. So to start off with, to find the number of rows in each matrix, I'm looking at how many horizontal lines of numbers there are in each matrix. So here I have a row right here across the top. So 3 and 5 are in a row. So I've got a row right here. So that's row number 1. Coming down a line, I've got another horizontal line of numbers. So 2 and -1. So that would be row number 2. And then down here at the very bottom, I've got another line of numbers, 7 and 9. So that would be row number 3. So there are 3 rows, 1, 2, 3 rows in this matrix. And then for the number of columns, I'm looking vertically. So there's a vertical line of numbers here with 3, 2, and 7. So that would be column number 1. And then there's another vertical line of numbers here with 5, -1, and 9. So that would be column number 2. So I have 3 rows and 2 columns, and when I write the size of a matrix, I always do rows before columns, so R and then C. So rows first, which is 3, and then I write an X to tell me it's 3 by, and then the number of columns is 2. So this is a 3 by 2 matrix. So my first matrix that I want to type in needs to be a 3 by 2. So coming over here, I actually have a button for 3 by 2 that I could click on, so I'll do that with this one. And it gives me blanks to fill in, and in these blanks I'm going to type in my numbers. So in this top corner blank, I want to type in the number 3 that I have in that top corner of my matrix. So 3, and then when I'm done, I'm going to use the arrow keys on my keyboard to go over to the next one. If you're on a phone, you could just use your fingers to click over to the next blank. And then I'm just going to fill in the rest of the numbers using those arrow keys. So I type in a 5, I click the arrow keys again to get to 2, I type in -1, 7, and 9. So then I can arrow outside of the parentheses, and that finishes off that first matrix. So I've got this matrix right here. Next, I need a plus sign because I'm trying to add these two matrices together. So you can use the plus sign that is already on your keyboard. And then we need to type in another matrix. So to do that, again, we have to decide what size the matrix is so that we can tell the calculator how many blanks to give us to fill in. So coming over here, we count the number of rows. So there's 1 row here. There's a second row here in the middle. So row 2. And then a third row down here on the bottom. So row 3. And then looking at the number of columns, we've got a column right here, so column number 1, and we've got a column over here, which would be column number 2. So we have 3 rows and 2 columns. So this would be a 3 by 2 matrix. So notice our sizes are the same, which means we're going to be able to add these together. So I need another 3 by 2 matrix, so I could come back up here and click this 3 by 2 button, or if I wanted, I could come down here to the very end, click on this to select the size of my matrix. So if I need 3 columns, I'm going to come down 3 and then over 1 to give me 2 columns. So notice here in what's highlighted, that's the same size as the matrix that I have. And it actually says in the top corner, select matrix size 3 by 2. So that's what I want. And then I'm going to type in my numbers from this second matrix. So starting with -3, 2, next I have -7, and then 4. And then coming down, I have -7 and then 9. So that's my problem that I want to try and solve. And then I'm going to come over here where it says go, and I'll click on that. And then once it loads, it'll show me the problem again. And if I scroll down here, it'll give me the solution. So it'll show me my problem first, an equal sign, and then my final answer. So it tells me my answer is this matrix over here on the left. So I can come and actually write that out. So 0, 7, -5, 3, 0, 18. And y'all can kind of hear my dog in the background losing his mind a little bit. Titan! There we go. Sorry about that, y'all. That's what you get when you got a teacher teaching from home. All right, so let's look at another example, and I'm going to go through this one a little bit quicker. So I can either go back to symbolab.com, or I can come up here and notice I still have that same calculator screen I was on earlier. So I can use those to retype the problem. So I'm going to erase what I had, so just backspace it out, and I'm going to do the second problem. So I'm going to quickly figure out the number of rows and columns that I have. So starting with rows, I have a row here, and a row here. So 1, 2, 3 rows. And then for columns, I've got a column right here, a column right here, and a column right here. So 3 columns. Rows come before columns, so 3 by 3. And then for my second matrix, counting the number of rows and columns, I've got a row right here on this line, a second row here on this line, and a third row down here on this line. And then up here, I've got a column up here, a second column right here, and a third column back here. So I've got 3 rows and 3 columns, so a 3 by 3 matrix. So to type in my problem, I'm going to come over here, and this isn't the same screen I was at, but if I need the full toolpad, I can actually click up here for full pad, so full pad and compact pad, and that'll take me back to that screen I saw earlier. So I can come and click on this button for matrices, and I can either select 3 by 3 here, or I could come over to the end and actually get a 3 by 3 matrix, and it'll show me up in the corner where it says select matrix size that that's a 3 by 3. So I'll do that and start just typing in my numbers. So I start at the top here, and I just go from left to right and go all the way down the same way I would if I was reading it. So 3, 1, 4, 2, 9, 11, 4, -1, -3. And then I arrow myself out of that first matrix. Now we're subtracting, so minus, and then my second matrix is also 3 by 3. So I'm going to come up here, and this time I'm going to click on the 3 by 3 button. It really doesn't matter which way you pick to input the matrix, whether you want to choose the size by highlighting the boxes, or if you just want to click one of these buttons over here. And then I'm going to fill in the numbers from this second matrix. So 6, 7, 1, 2, 9, -2, -6, -7, 1. All right, so that filled in my second matrix. Then if I scroll over here and click go, then I can come down here, and it's going to load for a second, and then shows me that my answer, which is this matrix right here, is going to be -3, -6, 3, 0, 0, 13, 10, 6, negative 4. So that would be my answer to this problem. And I could do it by hand and get the exact same thing. All right, and then I've got one last example I want to show you because I want to show you what your calculator is going to do if you try and type in a problem that has some issues with it. So we've got this problem right here that we want to type in. So we need to figure out the size of each matrix and then try and add these together. So starting with our first matrix, we need to find the number of rows and then the number of columns. So for rows, we've got a row up here on top, so that's row 1. We've got another row here in the middle, so that's row 2. And then a row down here at the bottom, which is row 3. Then we've got a column here on the left, which is column 1. A column here on the right, which would be column 2. So we've got 1, 2 columns, 1, 2, 3 rows. And when we write the size, we write rows first and then columns. So this would be a 3 by 2. Coming over to our second matrix, we're going to find the size of this one. So starting with rows, looking left to right, there's a row here at the top, so row 1 here, and a row down here at the bottom, which would give us row 2. So 2 rows total. And then for columns, we've got a column here on the left, which would be column 1. This column here in the middle would be column 2. And then this column here on the far right would be column 3. And when we write the size, we write rows first and then columns. So we had 2 rows and 3 columns. So this would be a 2 by 3. And notice when we look at the sizes, we've got a 3 by 2 and a 2 by 3. So those are not going to be the same size. And when we talked about adding and subtracting by hand, we said we couldn't add or subtract if the matrices weren't the same size. So I want to show you what's going to happen here when we try and do this. So I'm going to open this back up to the full toolbar, come over and click on the matrices, or try to if it'll let me. So starting off with, I've got a 3 by 2 matrix, so I need a 3 by 2. And I'm going to type in the numbers from that first matrix. So 2, 3, 1, 5, 2, 9. And then that's the first matrix. Plus, now I need to select the size of the second matrix. So we said the second matrix was 2 by 3. So coming over here, I'm going to click on 2 by 3 and then type in those numbers. So 3, 5, 9, 2, 1, 2. And so you can see here really clearly that those are not the same size as one another. But we're going to go ahead and see what our calculator would tell us. So if we click go, when we scroll down here and actually try and do the problem, it gives us this incorrect dimensions message. So that's telling us that the sizes are not the same. So because the sizes are not the same for our answer here to this problem, there would be no solution. Because when the sizes are different, we cannot add the 2 matrices together. All right, so that's showing you how to use a calculator to add and subtract these. There's going to be some problems on Edge Elastic for you to get some practice using a calculator to add and subtract. So work through those as you get a chance, you guys. All right, now make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.